Hi, I'm Adrienne Chin. I'm an interior designer based in London, England. Today I'm going to talk to you about an aspect of interior design. Today we're going to look at an entrance foyer, or a hallway, entrance hallway. Now these rooms tend to be very long and narrow typically, and don't often have very good natural light. If you have any light coming in, it's usually from some panes in your front door, and that's generally about it. So it's very important that you consider lighting in this space. I think it's quite nice to have one quite nice lantern style light in your hallway, or if it's a very long hallway, have maybe 2 or 3, depends how long. Often it's nice to look at perhaps other styles of hanging pendants. Recently I worked on a project where we put the old-fashioned warehouse tin lighting in 3 rows in a very long narrow hallway. One thing that I do quite often in long hallways to help visually the proportion look better is to either put a dado rail along the wall. Now it's very important not to put this in the middle of the wall, that's too high. Traditionally it should be the height of the back of a chair, because they were meant to be places where if you moved a chair back into it, it would protect the wall. So generally they're about 90 centimeters from the floor. So we put a dado rail, which is a strip of wood molding along the wall. Or another thing I quite like doing if you have a bit more of a country feel in your property is to do wood wainscoting, wood paneling all along the bottom of the wall. Then what I do is I paint all the woodwork, the paneling, the dado rail, the skirting boards, the doors, if you have a window, any window frames, in quite often I like to do it in a warm color rather than a white. It just adds a bit more character. So I would look at a color palette, something like this that you'd pick up in a paint shop or a DIY store, builder's merchant, something like that, and look at the colors. And if we're looking at a neutral scheme, which we are right now, I might look at these warm type of taupe tones to see maybe this one here, which is called mushroom gray, and consider that for the woodwork. Alternatively, we could look at that being the wall and have a nice ivory color, perhaps this one over here, which is called Silver Flake, and this is from the Sanderson range of paints, and have that on the woodwork. So we've started our neutral scheme. Alternatively, if you want to move away from paints, wallpaper is a very good material to consider in a hallway. If you paint the lower part of the wall above this dado rail or the paneling, put the wallpaper higher up. That way it won't get nudged against as people walk along the hallway. Traditionally in a hallway, this kind of diamond pattern is very smart. That would look very nice if your woodwork is in the soft white color. And it works very well for a classic contemporary scheme or a traditional scheme. Here we've got some examples of wall colors in the paint where you could play with the paneling in the deeper taupe and the wall in the lighter color, or vice versa. All right. If you put the darker color above, it will bring the height of the room down visually. So if you have a very tall, narrow hallway, that will help to put the darker color above. Here are some other examples of interesting textural types of wallpaper for more contemporary look hallways. This is a pleated one. This is a bit of a slightly metallic one, which is an idea because, as I said, lighting is an issue in hallways, and then that would reflect the light around and help the proportions. Here, this is a polished plaster, which is an interesting material, very hard wearing, very attractive in hallways, and this can be done in any kind of color. You need a specialist to come in to do it, but it adds a really nice, elegant feel to a hallway if that's what you're looking for. Now, as far as flooring materials go, people either like wood, usually when they in their downstairs areas, their entrance areas. So this is a very nice oak, warm oak in a wide plank. Alternatively, a lot of people have stone or ceramic floors. I personally like stone floors in hallways because they're extremely practical. This is an actual stone. This is a slate. This is a honed slate, a very interesting honed slate from England, and this can come in different sizes. So slate, limestone is popular. You can also look at terracotta flooring if that's the kind of scheme you like. Alternatively, you can look at porcelain or ceramic flooring. If you have a wood floor, you might want to warm it up with a runner. This is a flat weave wool runner which can then follow along the floor up the stairs. And these again come certain widths that work for staircases and different colors. And that adds some textural interest in the room because, as I said, you might not have any place to put any fabrics. Finally, over here I've got two other examples of wall coverings you could consider. This is a linen. This is an actual linen that could be put over the dado rail, or it can be put on the whole wall because it's quite tough and it wouldn't matter if you rubbed against it. For a more elegant, traditional scheme, you might want a classic stripe, which works very well in a hallway, as long as it's not too tall and narrow of a hallway. If you put this in a tall, narrow hallway, it would make the hallway seem a lot taller, so you don't really want to do that. But alternatively, if you've got relatively decent proportions in your hallway, that could look very smart. So these are elements to think about when you're doing your hallway. You can bring color and interest into the hallway with an interesting display of pictures. Do bring a mirror in there. It helps open up the space, and a console table is always very useful to have for your keys, your gloves, your glasses, all that kind of thing. Gives a little place maybe to put something decorative on there too in your hallway. If you want some further information or some ideas about interiors, you might want to have a look at my book, which is called The Home Decorator's Color and Texture Sourcebook. You can buy that on my website at www.adriennechin.co.uk.